Hi, this is Kathleen.
Hi, and this is Charlene.
We're going to talk real loud because we're sitting outside.
We're sitting out in the cold.
On the National Pike in Baltimore. Anyways, we're going to talk about
Starbucks.
We're going to talk about the Battle of the Bands. The two bands being the National Symphony and the Baltimore Symphony.
The Washington National, in case somebody
doesn't
know.
Yes, at Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.,
right.
Nation's capital of the United States of America.
Okay. We've got our
and
location,
Baltimore,
okay.
North, about 40 miles north in Baltimore, the city of, in Maryland.
And what's the name of that hall?
Meyerhoff.
Meyerhoff, that's right.
So Meyerhoff versus Kennedy Center.
Right, and I think
Baltimore Symphony versus National Symphony.
Let me say something. Okay. I think the halls are really different.
The halls are very different.
The one in Baltimore is much brighter sounding.
Yeah, and the Kennedy one is very mellow.
Yes, and so therefore the orchestras sound.
The orchestra sounds different, and what they played was an all
Elgar.
Yes, Edward Elgar.
For the first part, and Gustav Holtz for the second part.
Okay, yes, okay. All British.
All British.
All English.
Yes.
So we saw the violinist.
What was his name? I don't know.
Nikolaj Znaider.
Oh yes. He's
and we saw
Finnish,
Leonard Slatkin, who conducted. It was the first concert he did post heart attack. And then he did Holtz-the Planets with the National Chorale Women's Chorus.
Hidden in the back,
and in the beginning they were out of tune. Sorry. Here the orchestra had done really well, and then the chorus comes in, and they're all a little bit flat.
Well, they're supposed to be out in outer space, so I guess
fine.
They were.
The ending was fine. They finally got in tune, but the opening part of the singing, which who cares?
Hard to do.
So anyways, the violinist was good, and the other point we need to make about the Battle of the Bands is we had with us someone who had never been to a symphony concert.
I think that's
ever.
right.
So it was interesting to get her take on going to a classical music concert because
we didn't know what to we didn't know what to expect, and
she didn't either.
She didn't either. Actually, she wasn't sure that. For one thing, she wasn't sure that an orchestra was the same as a symphony. And
she asked
I said, well, a symphony is more classical, a standard form. An orchestra could be like a jazz orchestra or
they call
pop
bands
orchestras. Orchestra
brass
bands
orchestra.
too. You're doing it now.
Okay, so anyways, and then didn't she ask a question about whether it was mic'd?
I don't think so, but we talked about it because we asked her later what.
Yeah, because
what
the
that
first piece is kind of a mellow, wacky sort of.
Well, it's a Elgar Violin Concerto. It's a little bit boring. The second movement wasn't too bad, but I mean, it's a lot of notes.
And the orchestra played better in the second movement. The first movement I thought was just sort of flat.
There's a lot of notes, and it doesn't.
A lot of notes.
Yeah, and it doesn't. It's kind of hard to listen to even when you are, know music. So it was hard for her to listen to, and she also was surprised. She thought it was so soft because she's used to hearing this loud music
that was the other
time.
thing.
That was it. It's natural sound, and people aren't used to natural sound. So
she thought it would be much more in your face.
Wild, or
But the Planets, Holtz-the Planets, was more in your face, so that made up for it in the second half.
Except that it was still a full sound, a real sound. It was. So she realized that too, that there's a sound to music, to instruments that are not mic, that has a completely different quality than when you hear, a rap concert or whatever, that kind of thing.
Well, every other concert other than classical music is mic'd.
Yeah, that's true.
Even folk even little bands that go to Starbucks and all that, they all have their own
Mics, yeah.
mic sound system going on.
Right.
So that is something
That's a difference.
that no one ever considers, that live music for classical music for orchestras, there's no miking, and it's the natural vibrations that you feel.
And what she was intrigued with in the second part too was like the percussionist and
What they were
the
playing.
the extra people that came in are
Yeah, and
parts
there's
that
even
you
an
don't always
organist
see.
who only plays the
Right,
foot pedals.
only the foot pedals.
So yeah, plus that was a huge orchestra.
Oh
for,
yes,
for
they
the
had
planets.
lots of like 7 horns. They don't usually have
Yeah, seven horns. I
horns.
said that. I said that was
Yeah,
correct.
and a lot of percussion. And,
A lot playing
so
to
that
every
was a good
percussion.
piece to hear for
It was a good
someone
piece,
that
yeah, for a
hasn't
first-timer.
heard something and hear the different orchestra members
Places.
playing different parts.
Right.
And the way it was set up, that was interesting too. What was it? The horns were on the left facing the stage and the rest of the brass was on the right. And then, of course, the violins were on the outside, and the cellos were next to the first violins, which usually
Yeah, and then the viola,
viola's
and then they
next
had
to
the
their-
string bass in the very back.
yeah, and the way back, which they
Up.
usually have on the side. So I don't know if that's common for him to do that, but
I don't know,
it
because
kind of
he's
balanced the sound.
Slatkin
that
is
way.
no longer the director at the moment.
No, I know,
So
but
they're
that doesn't
between-
matter.
Well, I'm just
Come in
wondering,
and you
is
do
that
what you
his
want.
setup, or has that symphony? Because last time we were there, they didn't have that
I don't
setting.
think so.
And the last time we were there, I didn't think the National Symphony was very good at all.
No,
At-
that was a couple
at all.
years ago.
It was not good at all.
No.
So, the
Several
Battle
years
of the
ago.
Bands comes out now because I think the Baltimore obviously has raised up their stakes with Meyerhoff Aud, and now the National Symphony has raised it up their level. That I thought that, especially in the Holst, they were actually pretty good.
They were good. Yes, they were. In spite of the hall being mellower,
Uh-huh.
it still had a
They-
nice, lively sound
Yeah,
to it.
in the second
and
piece,
it was
definitely.
exciting. Yeah.
So they
So
were
that
pretty
helps.
okay, and I was not as disgusted by the strings that time because I remember.
The other thing we noticed though is there are more older people in the Washington Orchestra
Well, aren't
than
the tickets more expensive in Washington?
I didn't mean watching. I meant playing.
Oh, in the orchestra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we talked about that too. That
However, they have a female concert mistress.
that tape.
I won't be touching it for.
Yeah.
So they have a woman concert mistress,
Yes.
including the second chair. But Baltimore has Mr. Carney.
Right, Jonathan. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
like
that
him.
was something that she asked too. The violin solo. He moved around a lot when he was playing.
Yeah, he did.
And she wondered if that was normal, but that's a European thing
Okay,
too.
Ma.
Just like Jonathan Carney.
When I was a kid and you were playing solo
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
I asked you that exact question. I
Well,
said,
I
"Are we
didn't
supposed
move
to
that
move it?"
much.
Yes, you did. Yes, yes, you
don't
did.
remember.
Yes, even playing the viola, you did that.
Yeah, okay.
And I remember
Okay.
we had done a piece together, and you were still moving up. It's fine. I mean, there's so many people that do
Well,
that. But you know, if
right.
a singer ever did that, you know, they
Well,
get
that's a whole different
booted off the
thing,
stage. It's
right.
not a whole different thing. We don't have to emote by going like this,
Well, we
where every violinist
okay. You know,
does.
part